Hello, hello, and ahoy, hoy, and welcome to another installment, another fun episode of Tootie's Toy Box. I'm, of course, your host, Miss Tootie Odin, with you once again this week. Didn't skip a week this time because no one is dying of the flu. It might be hantavirus soon, but not today, ladies and gentlemen, not today. We are perfectly healthy here at Tootie's Toy Box. Didn't have work, didn't have sickness, didn't have to skip a week, didn't have a death in the family or a brand new life in the family. So 2 weeks in a row, ladies and gentlemen, here we are once again, and I'm very, very excited to be here with you guys. Be sure to catch last week's episode, which was a fun celebratory Cinco de Mayo review of The Three Amigos. It was a whole lot of fun to do. We do a lot of different things, most of them tied into pop culture in one way or another, but we do get somewhat spooky and conspiratorial every once in a while because that's kind of fun too, and also kind of raises awareness. And one of the hobbies that we like to do here, one of the healthiest hobbies we have, is blackpilling each other. No, that's a joke. That's a joke. But this channel is ready to promote healthy hobbies, the healthier hobbies, the healthy hobbies on the other side of the common hobbies that we actually all have together, which again can be just as fun, but not necessarily healthy. Sometimes a lot of our hobbies as older adults can catch up to us very quickly. So just here, promoting new things, promoting a conversation for those of us who have nobody else to talk to. So we're just here. I'm going to go ahead and check out the chat. If you're here in the chat, thank you. Hi, Mikey. It's good to see you. Woohoo! So, if you end up liking what's going on in this episode, again, this episode is going to be about the roast of Kevin Hart. If you like what's going to happen, do me a favor, subscribe, leave a thumbs up. Both are extremely free to do. Would appreciate both. If you want up to date information on what's going on Tootie's Toy Box, the best way to go about that is my Instagram. You can find me there on Instagram at tootie.odin003. So there's that. Let's go ahead and get started. I actually want to see if I am live. I see it, but I don't see me on camera. So hold on a second. Oh yeah, there. Okay, cool. All right, we're there. We're there. We're good to go. So if you have not yet watched the roast of Kevin Hart, I highly recommend it for a few reasons. Some of those reasons being it was fairly funny. Other of those reasons being I'm seeing a lot of people speak on the controversies and speak about jokes and how they're this and that and the other, and how dare you make a joke about this guy and this and that and the other. And I also see that they didn't watch the whole thing. And if they did watch the whole thing, I'm also realizing that the only thing they did was watch that whole thing and make their mind up about the people, have very solid opinions about people they don't really know in the first place. So we are going to get deep, not too deep, not too deep, but deep. But we might get super deep at the end. But yeah, it did bring about controversy, as most of these roasts do. Some people can't take a joke. The majority of the public seemed to enjoy the roast for the most part, seemed to enjoy the roast for what it was. I think we're coming to a point where we as a society in pop culture, especially when it comes to comedy, we're fatigued with cancel culture. We are fatigued with the idea of somebody can say something 15 years ago and we can come back and say, how dare you say that 15 years ago? Don't you know better? And we end up canceling them. I think a lot of people are actually really over that. And I think the pendulum has swung when it comes to comedy being extremely careful to now comedy going balls out and not even being funny and saying certain words. We've had these conversations before on this podcast. The word faggot, the word retard, the N-word. I'll be honest with you guys. I say the N-word all the time with my friends, respectably with my friends, or to make a joke because, hey, you're not supposed to say that. And that's the funny part, that when you're not supposed to say something, that's what makes it funny. It's irony. It's done respectfully. It's done fun. I don't have a problem with the word itself. I have a problem with words being said in a hateful manner. That's where the line should be drawn. Not at forbidden words. Not here. Not in my America, ladies and gentlemen. Not at forbidden words. So again, I think the pendulum has swung. There are certain things that people do and say at their own discretion. Do I think I'll get canceled for saying the N-word out in public? No. Why? Because I don't care whether people cancel me or not. And I think a lot of comedians are actually coming about their comedy with that type of attitude. If you try to cancel me, it's not going to happen. One case in point being a very good friend of mine. His name is David Lucas. He was an up and coming comedian. He actually started his comedy career through the Kill Tony show. Tony Hinchcliffe being one of the comedians who raised controversy in the Kevin Hart roast. He's actually under some hot water right now. But I remember David Lucas made a joke about George Floyd 2 or 3 years ago, which completely blew up. Oh, your career is over. Your career is over before it even started, blah, blah, blah. And I remember messaging him and actually sending him, because I follow the comedy community very closely. So I messaged him, hey, check this out. Do you see what they're saying about you? Do you blah, blah, blah? And his response was basically, they're going to talk regardless. And I'm going to say what I want to say regardless. And I'm not going to apologize for it. And it didn't come from a place of, I'm not going to apologize for it because fuck everybody and I'm a bad person. He's actually a very kind person. He's actually a very, very, very considerate, respectful human being on a personal basis. The problem is people who want to go to comedy shows, people who are new to the idea of the sense of humor, who are new to the idea of comedy, don't know how to take certain things and are trained and brainwashed and dog whistled into saying, oh my God, you said that? How dare you? Rebel, rebel, rebel. Let's all get mad at that. And even after you apologize, if you apologize for saying certain things, sometimes the apology actually makes it worse. So let's get into it. Let's get into every bit of pettiness, every funny moment that happened here at the Kevin Hart roast, because it came with an underlying idea of you better not, at the same time of yeah, let's go, let's see what we can get away with. So there was these two groups battling it out. And I think the media, the public, made it a racial issue. These comedians made it a fun racial issue. Racism itself isn't indistinctly bad. Hatefulness is. We are all a little bit racists on the inside. I shouldn't be starting the episode like this if I'm being honest. But the truth is, we all have these underlying things that we think and we say. And if you try to say that I don't think that way at all, you're lying. Every single one of us has certain things and has certain ideas about people who are of another race. It's human nature. It is what it is. You're different than me. I'm different than you. We're not going to agree on everything because we are different. That's okay. It's in a sense a race issue when that's semantics, but it's words. We're all of the human race. So, I mean, it is and it isn't. But this is what society is right now. This is what society is doing right now. They're trying to make fetch happen in this way. And there's this group of us that are pushing back, saying, no, it's not going to happen this way. And then there's this other group that say, no, we have a moral sense of obligation to silence you and make sure you don't say these things ever again. So that's exactly what was happening throughout this entire roast, if you ask me. There was this, there was that, and honestly, it made for brilliant comedy. It really did. Cheryl Underwood brought it to everybody on stage, especially the white comedians that were on stage. The white comedians acknowledged, especially Shane Gillis. Hi, I'm your host. I'm a white guy, and I probably shouldn't be doing this job, but here I am. So the jokes were already there. Everything was already laid out. People were already introducing themselves in ways that buckle up, prepare yourself, because this is what's coming next from me. And it was done perfectly. It was done the way you do a roast. It was done the way you do comedy, which I can respect. I can appreciate. So the Kevin Hart roast opens with Usher singing "Caught Up," I think is what the song's called. I don't know what Up All Night. I don't know what the song's called. I don't know Usher. I don't like him. I'm not a huge Usher fan. But he opens singing a song, and then throughout the song, little by little, the lyrics change to making fun of Kevin Hart. It was okay. It was an okay opening. You can tell it was extremely produced. You can tell every um, T was crossed and I was dotted by Kevin Hart. You can tell he signed off on a lot of the production because a lot of the production was kind of cringe. At this roast, there was a lot of Kevin like immediately responding, "You son of a bitch! What are you doing, man?" Like Kevin Hart being Kevin Hart. You know what I mean? Which kind of added a little bit of a corniness to the roast. Like it was just like, is this a roast or is this a stage play? Like what are we watching here? Like so there was that. There wasn't a lot of it. It was sprinkled in. It's Kevin Hart. It was Kevin Hart doing Kevin Hart shit. So yeah, so Usher comes in, opens, wasn't that great. Immediately after that, Kevin Hart grabs the microphone and he starts saying, "Yeah, thank you guys all for coming. You guys know I'm the shit. I'm number one, this and that." And as he's talking his shit, here comes Tom Brady sneaking in behind him, and everybody cheers loudly, and Tom Brady ends up roasting him and essentially getting him back for the roast that Kevin Hart did to Tom Brady during the Tom Brady roast, which was the biggest roast. I think it's the biggest roast of all time still. So it was a little bit of payback, just as tasteless as Kevin Hart's was towards Tom Brady. Kevin Hart talked major shit about Tom Brady's kids and family and his affair and his divorce with Giselle. Tom Brady hit Kevin Hart just the same about his affair while he was in Las Vegas. And I'm sure these subjects are sensitive to these men's respected wives or ex-wives. But all's fair in comedy. Unfortunately, all's fair in comedy. There are lines that for sure I would never cross when it comes to comedy. If in case you guys don't know, I did stand-up comedy for like 5 minutes. The anxiety became too much for me. I had to do a lot of drinking and a lot of partying in order to just muster up the courage to do stand-up. I realized that's a lifestyle that was not going to last very long for me, especially with young kids that I still need to be around for. So I quit doing stand-up completely. It wasn't for me. But I did not quit comedy writing. I used to write for one person that was on stage last Sunday night. It's debatable whether I wrote for another person because none of my shit was ever used by that person. But I used to be a comedy writer. I still am a comedy writer. When people will take my jokes, I still very much am a comedy writer. In fact, one of my jokes was on the Tom Brady roast 2 years ago. So you're welcome. But yeah, so as a writer, there are still certain things that even I won't touch. Let's say a comedian loses a child or something. That's a subject a lot of comedians will touch. Not one for me. Yikes. There's one where Shane actually roasted Cheryl Underwood about her husband who had taken his own life 30 years ago, mind you, taken his own life 30 years ago. But again, a subject that I probably wouldn't think about touching. Now, even that. So that was another one of those things that was controversial. People were like, how dare he talk about her dead husband and blah blah blah. Shane made it a point to tell people, look, I asked her several times if this was okay. So he'll say the joke and he'll say, it's okay. She said it was okay. He said that throughout the roast because, even these guys know how bad this stuff sounds and how on paper this stuff isn't funny. It all has to do with delivery and timing. And even that wasn't enough for a lot of people. But yeah, he got permission to make fun of her husband and whatnot. So there's that. But good Lord, some of these jokes were just a bit more than edgy. And then there were others that were just low hanging fruit that weren't even like the George Floyd one. And we'll get there. We'll talk about it, but it wasn't even funny. It was just low hanging. Like it's an I can't breathe joke. Oh, okay. Cause we don't make those, because we don't see those in Instagram and Twitter comments all the time. It's like, it's just low hanging fruit. Wasn't funny. It was literally just said for the controversy. It was literally just said for us to be talking about it now. So it worked. It worked for Tony Hinchcliffe for sure. The next thing I wanted to bring up is the Riyadh controversy. Kevin Hart was booed briefly during the roast because he actually did attend the Riyadh festival in Saudi Arabia. A lot of comedians were getting heat. A lot of the comedians that went were getting heat for going. Dave Chappelle, being the headliner, got a lot of heat for it. Kevin Hart did. I think Andrew Schultz did. Pete Davidson did. Pete Davidson was there, and his father actually died in 9/11. As we all know, Saudi Arabia are the 9/11 guys, right? According to what we know now, or the reports that we received from the official government files or whatnot. So very controversial, the Riyadh Festival. I actually have Shane Gillis's, I'm going to turn this down, Shane Gillis's response to that. Let me share it with you guys here. Because again, as I said, Kevin Hart was actually at the Riyadh Festival. Oh my gosh, Wild Flourish. Hello, my dear. It's always lovely to see you here. Where is it? Here we go. All right. Am I sharing it yet? Hold on. There we go. Give me 1 second. It's loading. Okay.
Performed at the Riyadh Comedy Festival, sponsored by the Saudi government. They offered me a ton of money to do it, but I said no. Kevin said yes. The reason I said no was to honor the brave police officers and firefighters who lost their lives that day. Right, Pete?
I think that right, Pete, was pretty damn good timing. So yeah, that was a big deal. That was a big deal. See, I think the life of a comedian is one of those, especially now, especially because a lot of them want to throw their big mouths up on podcasts and expose more than they actually should as comedians. But a lot of them are being held under a thumb. A lot of them are being held under a microscope. So the comedy career today isn't like the comedy career of 1980s, 1990s, or even early 2000s for that matter. The comedy career is under the highest of scrutiny because for some reason we are taking their opinions far more seriously than we should. Most comedians are comedians because they're not they didn't study, they didn't do their homework on time, they didn't graduate with honors from anywhere, and that's not a suggestion that they're not intelligent. Most of them are actually very intelligent and very well read, but it's just to suggest they weren't considering going into comedy in order to rock the world. People go into comedy for reasons of trauma, and they're good at making people laugh. Most of the time it's not fame. Most of the time when somebody goes into comedy, it's not because I want to be rich and famous. Comedy does not, very, very rarely deliver rich and famous. It's not until very recently that comedy started delivering rich and famous rather quickly. A lot of that due to the Kill Tony podcast. Kill Tony actually offered a lot of promising positions to up and coming comedians just through their 1 minute stand up on his show. 60-second minute that makes a handful of people laugh in a room can turn your life around overnight. That seems to be the case for a lot of people that we know. As I mentioned previously, it was the case for David Lucas, who now is established and doing his own thing. He is starring in smaller roles in movies and doing acting now. Cam Patterson is another one that came from Kill Tony, who is now currently on Saturday Night Live. So the trajectory of these comedians' lives, it goes from, I want to try it out. Can I do it? I don't know. If people think I'm funny, to boom. Now I'm viral. Now I'm on a Netflix stage with 5,000 people in front of me, 10, 15,000 people in front of me, and I'm doing my jokes. So like that, things change for these people. And you know what? People have different opinions. Not everyone's going to think like you. Not everyone that you know or that you think you know is going to think like you. And thus comes the idea that I can destroy you because you don't think like me. The life of a comedian is short. And if it's not short, it's either begging for mercy or living the life of an asshole. There is no between. Anyway, there is no between these days. When it comes to the career of a comedian, it's one of three things, and it's always these two things: you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, and that goes for all of them, even the famous ones, even the loaded ones, even the ones with a lot of money. They're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't. That just happens to be the case. And that's why it was so easy to attack a lot of these comedians for the Riyadh Festival. Pete Davidson went to the Riyadh Festival. He went to the country of the people who supposedly bombed and killed his father, a hero, a firefighter during 9/11. It goes to show you that, you know, either these people are dumb, or they've taken the proper steps in therapy to move forward from their tragedies. I have seen a lot of people. Okay, so I there's Twitter, and then there's Black Twitter, right? So Black Twitter's upset, calling Kevin Hart a coon for not defending George Floyd and this and that. And the truth is, it's like, well, what you guys are essentially saying is Cheryl Underwood is a weak Black woman. Let's coddle this weak Black woman who is definitely not over a tragedy from 30 years ago. Don't you understand? She's weak, and how dare you? She seemed perfectly fine to me. I couldn't imagine going through a tragedy like that, no matter what, and coming out the way she did. Strong, beautiful, hilarious. She got them back, I assure you. She told him, you are just a handful of letters away from saying a certain word, and I guarantee if you say that word, you're not making out of Inglewood alive. She checked every single one of those white boys in her own way. And again, with respect, everybody was given permission to say certain things. Okay, not everybody. We'll get there. But when it comes to this, words were exchanged. Communication was exchanged. Hey, Cheryl, are you sure this is okay? Yes, it's fine. That says a lot about a woman who probably went through therapies, who probably had to do a lot of things to overcome. We don't know if she ever became addicted to anything or tried to cope in different bad ways and then overcame that too. We don't know any of that. I'm not saying that either. I'm not saying that's what she did. I'm saying that's what I did when I had to grieve. I regressed before I moved forward. It's not easy to grieve something that hard, like a death in the family, a death of somebody you love very much. I'm saying that's what I did. I'm not saying that's what she did. But if she did and she overcame it, good for her. Either way, a strong Black woman is being completely erased because everybody wants to be outraged by her dead husband who she's over. Wild shit. Hot takes, looks, you a double I. Oh, thank you. Thank you, my dear. Get it, babes. That's me. Okay, Chelsea and Shane. That's the next one I did want to get to. So Chelsea Handler, Shane Gillis, and Tony Hinchcliffe all have this thing going on. They hate each other with a passion. She likes to call them racist. They like to call her Jewish. It's a whole thing. It's hilarious. Shane actually comes out with something extremely not funny, but extremely interesting. I have that video for you guys as well. He hit Chelsea Handler hard, and again, I don't think he was trying to be funny. I don't think he was trying to tell jokes. I think he was just being factual about Chelsea Handler. Let me find it for you. Bet you it's my last one. I'm going to click and click. There it is. Okay. So, yeah, hot takes. So are they too hot of takes? Are they too hot takes? Because like I'll tone it down, but I don't plan on toning it down, but I will. Okay, so yeah, here's Shane getting Chelsea, and then Chelsea gets him back, but it's not as good, so I didn't save it.
I'm not saying that's good or bad. Speaking of dead kids, she's a big fan of abortions. Chelsea's been scraped more times than the grill at Benihana. Speaking of tossing tiny shrimp into a child's mouth, Chelsea Handler went to dinner at Jeffrey Epstein's house in 2010. It's just a fun one. You can look it up. There's articles. It wasn't like a big party. There was like 7 people there. And it was like Prince Andrew and Woody Allen were there. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Chelsea Handler.
So he wasn't even telling a joke. He was just like, well, you guys can look it up. Just look it up. Like she was there. She was there with Prince Andrew and Woody Allen. She was just there with those guys. Like, what? What's going on? Like, what? That wasn't even a joke. That wasn't funny. And then the very next thing he says is, anyway, here's Chelsea Handler. These are all factual things, by the way. This is something that Matt has a podcast called Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast with Matt McCusker. And he's been talking about this for a long time. This is something that's been on his mind for a while. He's mentioned Chelsea Handler many, many, many times. And how she rubs elbows with certain people that we're not supposed to actually like. So while everybody's flinging shit and flinging controversy at one, a comedian who didn't go to Riyadh Festival, 2, a comedian who's not in the Epstein files, it seems to be that that's just a one-sided mudslinging. When Shane, on the other hand, was just speaking facts about things that she actually did. Now that's a roast. That's a fucking roast, if you ask me. Chelsea did come back. She came back with your favorite word is she basically said your favorite word is chink because that's what he got canceled for from SNL. And then she told him, which is ironic because you look like a Chinese dumpling. And that was it. She told him something about there's a difference between a Zionist and a Jew. And she tried to explain that. It wasn't very good. It wasn't very good. It wasn't very good. It wasn't a burn. She burned Tony more than she burned Shane on that one. But it's an interesting controversy because this one actually comes from a place of these men are actually irritated and probably a little bit disgusted with this person. For real reasons. They can't say and accuse her of anything weird, and nor should they without proof. The only proof that we have at this point is that she was at a party with a very private party with 6 other people that included children and shrimp, I guess. I didn't specifically read the files. But I have heard about this in other videos and this and that. I honestly do my best not to pay attention to stuff like that now because the Epstein files are just a bit much. And if we're not gonna do anything, if we're just sit around and be pissed off about it and argue with each other about it, I'm not interested in that. If we're gonna get together and revolt or fight or throw our phones away together and figure this shit out on our own, I'm in to figure out how we can stop all this bullshit from happening. But I'm not in to fucking fight and argue with somebody else online, a stranger I don't know and can't see about something that you're not going to stop and I'm not going to stop. So blah. I try my best not to pay attention to it anymore. It's a waste of my energy, a waste of my time. The Lord will handle it, right? Those who deserve to burn will burn, and the Lord, God does not mess with children. God does not mess when it comes to children. They are the most innocent, most precious creatures. It goes for baby animals too, by the way. Precious creatures, precious animals, helpless beings with breath that are created to function with the rest of us in this circular movement. Yeah, there's something about that where you harm something that innocent and there's major repercussions. So whether we see them or not, I mean, it's really out of our control until it becomes completely in our control. So there's that. Yeah, not the greatest. Chelsea Heller, not the greatest at her comebacks. But it is what it is. It was just interesting to see that Shane Gillis had threw down a few gems about Epstein and the PDFs and this and that. So if you go back and you watch the entire roast, which was 3 hours by the way, but if you go back and watch it, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. On to the George Floyd controversy. I did not get videos of this because this one is blowing up everywhere. So is that one, the one I just showed you. But this one's just absolutely blowing up. The controversy of Tony Hinchcliffe speaking on George Floyd. I will read you exactly what Tony Hinchcliffe joke was. It was a joke against Kevin Hart, and the joke was, Kevin, the Black community is so proud of you. Right now, George Floyd is looking up at us all, laughing so hard he can't breathe. And that's pretty much how he said it. And ha ha ha. Ooh, George Floyd can't breathe. It's not funny, right? It's not funny. It's just controversial. It did its job. It did what it was supposed to do. Let me read you a Pete Davidson joke that no one seems to be outraged about. It's a joke about Tony Hinchcliffe. Tony reminds me of Charlie Kirk, and that he's definitely been on camera letting a guy unload in his throat. That one actually is funny. That one actually is kind of funny. That's clever. It's cruel, and it's kind of funny. Why is that not controversial? We are both talking about two dead men, one innocent, one not so much. Excuse me. The non-innocent one, we're all fighting for and painting murals for. The innocent one gets murals painted about him and gets graffiti on. but okay, look. Both takes, terrible takes. Jokes about people who passed away in tragic ways. Right? One of them controversial, the other one not controversial. So there's that. Right? It's hypocrisy. It's fake outrage. It's fake outrage is my point. Nobody's really mad at the George Floyd joke. People are told to be mad at the George Floyd joke. So people are mad at the George Floyd joke, which wasn't a very good George Floyd joke by any means whatsoever. Sorry, Tony, that sucked. It's just interesting. It's interesting to see the things that people pick and choose to either find funny or to find not funny, and not just not funny, but controversial. Now, again, humor has always been, comedy has always been subjective, of course. So people are right not to laugh at certain things. I don't have the same sense of humor as a lot of people. I don't have the same sense of humor as anybody I know, really. Like I said, yeah, comedy's supposed to be subjective for that reason. And what makes it so good is it teaches comedians and comedy writers how to steer curves and how to write better and how to decide a better formula and what they're doing and what they can do better, what they can do next. It's your laugh. It's your laugh that people are working towards. Not necessarily how boo, anger, we're so mad at you, hiss. Not the heckling, not the anger. People who do comedy are doing it because they want you to laugh at that comedy. Okay? Now, because the pendulum has swung so hard, because cancel culture came in and tried its best to ruin the careers of so many people, those same people are outraged. There are new people who are up and coming who are just as outraged and who are like, fuck you, that's not going to happen to me. I'm never going to let it happen to me. I happen to be one of them. I'm impervious to all of the cancel things. I'm not famous, But I can guarantee you, if ever there was a day where something goes viral and people find me and, oh my God, she's so cute and beautiful and skinny, and they find me and they start to love me, there's going to be plenty of material that they're going to find on me that's going to be controversial and be like, oh my God, yeah, oh my God, we hate her now. Plenty. And not because I'm a bad person, not because I choose to do bad things or because I'm a hateful person, because because people talk, because people say things, and sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're not, sometimes they are solidly funny and nobody finds it funny, and that's not that's it's just, it is what it is. It just is what it is. Especially with the internet, you cannot change. You cannot change fake outrage. You cannot change social justice wars. You just can't change an agenda of somebody who's already made up their mind that they're going to push that agenda. So there's that. Um, so far, as far as I've seen, Kevin Hart has not apologized for anything that happened on his roast. He didn't backtrack and explain anything, as far as I've seen. And good for him. He doesn't have to. He shouldn't have to. There isn't a single human being he has to apologize for. Um, uh, Kevin Hart and Cat Williams. Cat Williams. That's next. Cat Williams actually came into the picture. He surprised Kevin Hart on this roast. I hope it was genuine. I hope it was a genuine surprise for Kevin Hart. As we all know, they're kind of enemies. They kind of butt heads. I think Cat Williams openly talked shit about him on Shannon Sharp's show. I do believe he openly talked um, shit about him on Joe Rogan's show, all within a span of like 2 years of each other, maybe even less. So it was funny to see Cat Williams on stage roasting the hell out of Kevin Hart. Again, I really hope it wasn't staged. But what I will say, excuse me, what I will say is I think it's time to start letting people in our own races make their money if they're not hurting anybody. Thievery is wrong. Don't steal for your money. Selling drugs is wrong. Don't sell drugs for your money. At the same time, selling bootleg t-shirts is wrong, but go for it and work your hustle, because who gives a shit? You're not hurting anybody. There are certain things we can do to push the envelope. There are certain things we can do to work our hustles and make money. And I'm all for you doing whatever it takes to work your ass off and make your money if you're not outwardly hurting or harming anybody. Stealing from a store, everybody thinks, no, that's justified. Yeah, but the only reason why it's wrong, I don't care about stealing from a store. They're making millions. On the other side of that, they can take it out on the consumer. It's also illegal by law. There's things. You know what I'm saying? If you're working a real hustle, do it and do it right and good for you. And hopefully people are proud of you. What I will say is both Kevin Hart and Cat Williams made millions of dollars that night. This past Sunday night, Mother's Day, 2 days ago, they made millions of dollars. And good for them. Whether their beef was real, whether the controversy between the war of Cat Williams and this and that, whether it's real or not, it doesn't matter. Everybody collected a paycheck on that stage, and good for them. Why are we not celebrating that? Black community, why are we not celebrating our Black people for allowing themselves to build their legacies for their families? Why? Why are we sitting here, ooh, Kevin Hart, a coon, Kevin Hart, this, that, because he didn't say nothing about George Floyd? The man's building. Who gives a shit about George Floyd, a criminal? That's just straight up. How much longer are we going to hold on to this George Floyd thing, ladies and gentlemen? Now, I'm not just talking about Black people here, because it's a lot of people. It's a lot of white saviors too. How long are we going to hold on to that one, you guys? We let Charlie Kirk go so easily. Again, you don't have to like Charlie Kirk. That's fine. We don't have to like George Floyd. That's fine. That's fine. But this fake outrage, dude, this this guy named Officer Tatum. He's a conservative grifter. He's a black man. His name is Brandon Tatum, I think. But he basically went on Twitter and was like, basically said, the outrage is it should be disgusting. It's disgusting what Pete Davidson said about Charlie Kirk, this and that. Now, if you ask me, that's coon behavior. Not Kevin Hart not saying shit about George. That there is coon behavior right there to me. Officer Tatum going all in on defending Charlie Kirk, who doesn't need his defense by any means because he's dead, is over there defending him when it's just, I just think it's so ass backwards. I see Black people always attacking their own instead of like seeing the bigger picture. I would attack the Black guys coming to defense for the dead white guy, not the other dead Black guy. Like, I don't know. That to me would be that. If I was a Black person in Black people's shoes, that would be coon behavior to me. Why are you defending this white dude? That to me, that's what it would be. But maybe I'm wrong on the definition. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on what the Black community thinks cooning is. But I certainly don't think cooning is a famous hardworking Black man who came from nothing and built his way up. He's not an industry plant. Kevin Hart's not, right? I think there's something they were giving him as flowers. Oh, but the slave jokes, but the George Floyd. They were giving him his flowers. Every single human on that stage. Those jokes were on purpose because how ridiculous. Kevin Hart didn't come on a slave ship in a bottle with his tiny family. Ridiculous. Every single one of those jokes was ridiculous. But it's a matter of wanting to be really mad at it because we have to be mad at it because don't you get it? We are oppressed. Kevin Hart, millionaire Kevin Hart, he's so oppressed. How dare us not be outraged at his $1 million oppression? Weird. It's weird. Humor is in the funny bone of the beholder. I agree. Humor is definitely in the funny bone of the beholder. Yes, it's all subjective. Absolutely. I have two actually, but before we get there, so after the Charlie Kirk thing, the Charlie Kirk Pete Davidson exchange, that happened. That was a deal. Everybody went, oh, this and that. So let's move forward from that. That was all right. Kat versus Kevin. I actually went on a rant, didn't I? I do have that video, so let me share that with you guys. I didn't get the exchange. I just only have a portion of Cat Williams speaking. The portion that I actually saved is Cat Williams speaking on Kevin Hart at Diddy parties. So I thought that was kind of an interesting thing for him to bring up. And the way he brought it up was pretty brilliant. So I'm going to share that with you guys now.
Kevin, for the Diddy parties, they hurled out.
Oops, sorry, guys.
Kevin, for the Diddy parties, they hurled allegations at him. But thanks to all the baby oil, the charges didn't stick. Kevin was at a bunch of Diddy parties, but in his defense, it was only because Diddy thought he was 10. Kevin even hosted a record release party for P. Diddy. There was a record number of releases. On the bed, in the pool, on the floor, everywhere but the hose. But I want to be clear. Just because Kevin went to Diddy parties does not mean he did something wrong. The fact that he gets all quiet when you bring it up, that means he did something wrong.
I'm sorry, but that's actually extremely clever. I like the way he did that. I like the way the fact that he gets all quiet. I thought that was funny. Pretty brilliant. Good for you, Cat Williams. I agree. So there's that. Cat Williams, I think he did an excellent job. Afterward, the another viral moment on this roast was Kevin Hart extending an olive branch to Cat Williams and telling him, "Hey, I'm a fan first before I'm an enemy of yours." Blah blah blah. So they decide to hug it out, and apparently now the beef between Cat Williams and Kevin Hart is over. I don't believe that for 1 second personally. But I am happy that both of them got paid handsomely for this Netflix event. So good for them and good for everybody else who got paid just the same. I am all for it. Um, Shortly after that, to close the entire event, The Rock comes out. I didn't get any videos of that either because popular. I couldn't find any good ones that I wanted to save that didn't have watermarks and anything. As you can see, the videos that I showed of you guys, it was hard enough to grab those and crop them in certain ways. So yeah, that kind of sucks. But The Rock does come out. He rocks it, pun intended. Completely rocked it. It was pretty hilarious. Um, uh, uh, then Kevin Hart closes with his own rebuttals. Um, that was extremely rehearsed, which is fine. Which is fine. It probably has to be, but he's a good comedian. Kevin Hart is actually an excellent comedian. The jokes are delivered fine because he's so little and goofy. It works even perfectly. Um, it closes with Shane. It closes with Shane singing Meek Mill lyrics, which I thought was kind of funny because the whole show, Shane hosts, right? He's hosting the whole thing. The second The Rock comes out, Shane just takes a back seat. He doesn't even say, "Thank you, everybody, for coming." Shane doesn't even close it, like, at all. Kevin Hart does his thing. Then Meek Mill comes out. So by that time, everybody's completely wasted. Everybody's drunk. The show ends up like kind of a hot mess. In a way, I don't know if production was drunk too, but like the show just kind of ended like that. Meek Mill comes out. I want to share it because it's hilarious to me. It's kind of cute. Not finally the controversies are over. We don't have to talk about them anymore. But I wanted to show you how Shane Gillis starts fucking rapping fucking Meek Mill. It's really cute, actually. You can tell he's from Philly. You can actually tell he's really from Philadelphia. So it's funny. Okay.
This is how you know Shane.
Oh, it's a short clip. Hold on.
This is how you know Shane Gillis is a real Philly cat, bro. Watch this nigga in the back, bro.
It is. It's actually really cute. It's so cute. Shane Gillis is hilarious. Do I think he was the best man for this job? I absolutely do not. He's the most popular man for this job. I think he did a decent job. I can't right now think of anybody who would have done better outside of Cat Williams. Cat Williams probably would have been the better choice to do this. It would have been fun to see it. Maybe they asked him and Cat Williams declined. Who knows? I think he definitely would have been a better host for this event, and just was able and just unleashed and roasted Kevin Hart the entire time. Didn't happen. Shane did a decent job. I'm not saying he did a bad job. It just wasn't an ideal fit, if you ask me. I'm going to give this roast a 3.5 out of 5 yucks. It was decent enough. It was really good. The formula was there. The jokes were there. I really appreciate that they honor the writers at the end of the credits. They always do. But I'm glad that they're actually being acknowledged outside of the Netflix show too, which is really, really beautiful to see. I love that that Shane actually made a snarky remark during the roast to Jeff Ross about how he has like 50 writers writing his jokes for him. I thought that was pretty funny. And there's one more. There's one more video I actually want to share with you guys. This one's a little longer, and it's not a roast video. It is somebody expressing their own opinions about the roast and about certain things that were said at the roast and why they were said. If you guys remember, if you guys watched 2 weeks ago, I did an episode on pop culture and psychological warfare. If you haven't watched that episode, I highly would encourage you to watch it. I'm not saying it's the best. It's probably it's as well produced as this one. So take with that as you wish. But it was um, it was an episode that is pinpointing the idea that in everything that we consume, that we hear, that we see, it's there's agenda behind it. There's something happening. There's a message that's being received, and a message that's being portrayed in order for us to receive it. And that includes, unfortunately, it includes roast. It includes organic words. It includes people's writing things. And it's not always, oh, the Illuminati's on the phone. What do you guys want me to say? It's not always that. But at the same time, it's sprinkled. It's sprinkled in whether we like it or not, whether we want to see it or not. It is there. So I have one more clip that I wanted to share with you guys. Um, uh, just a food for thought. Just a food for thought clip. So I hope you're hungry still. Let's see. Let me find it. Like I said, it's a little long, but I thought it was fairly interesting what he had to say about the roast. This will be the last clip of the night.
The forum during the Netflix roast of Kevin Hart wasn't just comedy, but it was a sick and twisted victory lap for the wealthy predators of this system. While the majority of the masses laughed, the predators used Shane Gillis to perform the revelation of the method, right in our faces. They took the darkest evidence from the Podesta files, emails that were related to the Epstein network, and those shrimp and food references that we know are coded language for the ritual abuse of children, and they turned them into punchlines. By having Gillis joke about Chelsea Handler, another known Epstein associate, about tossing tiny shrimp into a child's mouth while he's introducing her, they are effectively laundering the truth. But this is how this system operates, because they tell you exactly what they're doing, but they package it as a roast, and that's what the revelation of the method is. Once it's a joke on Netflix, it's no longer a crime to them, but it's just edgy humor forced in your face. They mentioned Handler's 2010 dinner with Epstein not to expose her, but to show us that they can admit to it and nothing happens, and they are literally laughing at the people for knowing the real truth. They took the shrimp imagery from the leaked emails, the same ones that linked the predators to these sick acts, and used it to entertain the very civilians that they're suppressing. It's them saying, "We did it, you know we did it, and we're going to just make jokes about it." This is the ultimate tool of desensitization, and when we stop being outraged and start laughing at the shrimp and kids' jokes, they have won. Don't let the comedy cover up the corruption, because they aren't hiding the Epstein circle anymore, but they're flaunting it because they believe the people are too broken to fight back.
What? I, for one, think that is pretty true. Major shit, Big Benny. It's good to see you again. It's nice to have you. Well, the show's over now, but way to go. Way to go to show up late. But again, I don't want to blackpill you guys with that video. It's just food for thought. It's just another conversation to be had about what we witnessed on Sunday. I still laughed. I still laughed at all the jokes. I wasn't like, this isn't funny because the government and Epstein. Like, no. That's the thing. I'm not going to allow myself and my sense of humor to be stripped from me. One, because people are going to try to cancel it and think, oh, well, because I don't find it funny, I'm going to make sure that nobody else finds it funny. And two, because touch grass. Everything on the internet isn't real, right? And any controversies that we see is just floating in the air, and we choose to grab it, pull it down, and do what we want with it. That's just the thing. So yes, I still laughed at all those jokes, but at the same time, it is wise to take a lot of this stuff with a grain of salt, to understand that while it's okay to laugh and joke about certain things, it's also there's also an element of truth, which is what makes jokes funny, which is what makes comedy humor, is that there's an element of truth to a lot of it. If there wasn't, it wouldn't be funny. If you made jokes about, actually, I don't even have any good examples. But there's an element of truth to a lot of comedy, which is, again, adds, it's 80% of the formula. So again, just food for thought. I'm not trying to end on a black pill. I'm not trying to end on, ooh, dark, don't ever listen to that again. No, it just is what it is. And that's that. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Again, as usual, I had a blast doing this episode with you guys. If you have not watched the roast of Kevin Hart and you're interested, it is free on Netflix. If you have Netflix, if not, I'm sure you'll find it somewhere on Twitter, on a burner account or something. There's people all the time posting bootleg stuff for free, I guess. But it's worth a watch if you ask me. Share your thoughts with me if you have watched it. Leave a comment below. Subscribe to the channel if you have not yet. Please, it'd be really, really nice. I am still unrealistically on the road to 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2026. I am at 56 subscribers now, and I promise you I will reach 1K by the end of 2026. So we'll see what happens. Please subscribe. I have been your host, Miss Tootie Odin. I will see you guys comfortably next week. You guys have a wonderful week and a wonderful weekend.